Hey, everybody. We are here once again for a Donald Trump coronavirus press conference. Will he come clean about coronavirus? Will he admit that things are completely out of control? Will he concede that he didn't handle it the way he could have handled it? Or will we hear continued lies from the president scheduled for the top of the hour? I have a guess. We'll see which side of that guess I end up on momentarily. I do have my new microphone. As many of you can see, we're still working out the kinks with it, but some significant improvements made today. And these are, we're working with a bunch of elements of audio here, and getting them all to work together properly is important. And this is so funny. You might find this funny. You guys remember this furious Trumpist Jimmy from Philly who calls in? He always has some issue. He is, a Trump guy. He's against Bernie. He's all about, no handouts. Everybody figure things out for themselves. He asked for me to send him my old mic for free. He's like, just send me the $500 mic, David. You don't need it anymore. Do you? Take a listen to this.
David, Jimmy from Philly, I hear you're getting a new microphone. How about letting me have the old one?
Right.
I'll pay shipping.
Can you imagine if I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to give my microphone away to somebody. How about the guy who I have to hang up on because he's so disgustingly homophobic during phone calls? Let me send him the mic. No, Jimmy, you're not getting the mic. You can go and buy one for $500 if that's what you want. It's legendary in a sense, but it's also so incredibly pathetic. Plus, the old mic becomes now part of my mobile setup, and now I've got a better microphone for my mobile setup. I still have a use for it. But no, Jimmy is not getting the microphone. Jake says, I think I saw you trying not to laugh at the Trump diapers fill-em-ups. I don't know what that is. But yesterday when Trump said Fuji film a number of times, it was really weird. Thanks to Dirk Peters for the super chat. Matty Ice PVD says, David, if Trump wins re-election, will a significant percentage of the population emigrate? Thoughts on being an expat? Mike sounds great. No, interestingly, on the Friday show, I'm going to address the question, what would it take for me to leave the United States permanently? And for the most part, this is something people say. If X wins, if Y doesn't win, I'm leaving the country. First of all, it's actually hard to leave the country in most cases. And it's not hard to leave. It's hard to legally stay somewhere else indefinitely. I have some options, but I actually plan to talk about that on Friday. Neutral Music is asking about Barr's testimony today. Yeah, I have a couple of clips. We could look at it just while we're waiting here. Here is Congresswoman Jayapal going after William Barr. Let's take a listen.
Confederate flags, and one even with a dark-haired doll with a noose around its neck. Are you aware that these protesters called for the governor to be lynched, shot, and beheaded?
No.
You're not aware of that?
I was not aware.
Major protests in Michigan. You're the attorney general, and you didn't know that the protesters called for the governor to be lynched, shot, and beheaded. So obviously you couldn't be concerned about that.
Well, there are a lot of protests around the United States, and on June 1st, I was worried about the District of Columbia, which is federal.
In certain parts of the country, you're very aware of those, but when protesters with guns and swastikas and Confederate flags. Excuse me, Mr. Barr, this is my time, and I control it.
Oh.
You are aware of certain kinds of protesters, but in Michigan, when protesters carry guns and Confederate flags and swastikas and call for the governor of Michigan to be beheaded and shot and lynched, somehow you're not aware of that. Somehow you didn't know about it, so you didn't send federal agents in to do to the president's supporters what you did to the president's protesters. In fact, you didn't put pepper balls on those protesters. So the point I'm trying to make here, Mr. Barr, that I think is very important for the country to understand, is that there is a real discrepancy in how you react as the Attorney General, the top cop in this country, when white men with swastikas storm a government building with guns. There is no need for the president to, quote, activate you because they're getting the president's personal agenda done. But when black people and people of color protest police brutality, systemic racism, and the president's very own lack of response to those critical issues, then you forcibly remove them with armed federal officers, pepper bombs, because they are considered terrorists by the president. You take an aggressive approach to Black Lives Matter protests, but not to right-wing extremists threatening to lynch a governor if it's for the president's benefit. Did I get it right, Mr. Barr?
I have responsibility for the federal government, and the White House is the seat of the executive.
Mr. Barr, let me...
Anyway, so you get a sense of how it was going. By the way, demon sperm is trending on Twitter. That's really weird. But so it was really a complete and total mess. Here's another point. Barr saying to David Cicilline, who I've met before, that it's okay to use tear gas on peaceful protesters in some cases.
Ever appropriate, Mr. Barr, for officers to use force against peaceful protesters? Yes or no?
Not against peaceful protesters.
So you also don't mention in your statement today or your testimony that federal officers have even tear-gassed elected representatives. County Commissioner Sharon Myron confirmed firsthand, last night I was tear-gassed by a federal occupying force. I saw throw canisters of poison without warning into a nonviolent crowd, including elders and the vulnerable.
Yeah.
And on July 23rd, the mayor, Ted Wheeler, was tear-gassed. He called the tactics of the officers abhorrent. These are elected representatives with grave concerns that officers are using abhorrent tactics, including tear-gassing elderly, nonviolent Americans. So let me ask you, sir, do you think it's ever appropriate to use tear gas on peaceful protesters? Yes or no?
Well, the problem in these things sometimes occur because it's hard to separate people who...
Mr. Barr, my question is very specific. Do you think it is ever appropriate to use tear gas on peaceful protesters?
It is,
yes or no?
It is appropriate to use tear gas when it's indicated to disperse...
on peaceful protesters?
To disperse an unlawful assembly, and sometimes, unfortunately, peaceful protesters are affected by
Okay,
it.
now how much...
So this reminds me of... let me see if I can actually find... Well, maybe we'll do that later. I actually have an interesting clip I could play for you of John Yoo, sort of like the beginning of this type of response in these situations. Let's see if we have any updates on the news conference. Not quite yet. I also did want to play just a little bit. Joe Biden actually took questions from the press today, which I think is great. Why not? Let's take a listen to a little bit of it.
You alluded to this in your remarks, and I bring it up because polling is bearing this out a little bit. But are you running against President Trump or for President and for Joe Biden? In other words, you alluded to this, but a lot of voters seem to think or are saying that their support hinges on the fact that you're not the president. So why perhaps should they be voting for you and not just against the president?
That's why I'm laying out these detailed plans. Look, I'm running because Trump is the president. And I think our democracy is at stake for real. And what seems to be the case is many Americans, those who don't like me and those who do, view me as the antithesis of Trump. And I believe that I am. And when I announced, I said I was running because I thought it was essential to restore basic decency, the soul of America. But I really meant it. It wasn't, remember I got criticized early on for saying that. Now everybody's talking about the soul of America, decency, honor, respect. The second reason I said I was running is because even back when people were talking about how well the economy was moving, I thought the middle class was still getting crushed and working class folks were hurting badly. All this talk about how happy they were. I didn't see.
I mean, listen, am I finding myself incredibly inspired by what he's saying? No. But is it obviously better than the lunacy of reelecting Donald Trump? Yeah, obviously. So it's a pretty crystal clear path forward as far as I'm concerned there. Welcome to everybody watching on Twitch, by the way. I want to say thank you to I Burn Easy for subscribing at tier 1 on Twitch, where we surpassed 40,000 followers yesterday during my stream with chess master Levy Rosman. Surpassed 40,000 followers. And you know what's insane? On YouTube, we're only 200 subscribers from 900,000. It may actually happen during this stream. That's interesting. Let me see if I can pull up. Do we have any kind of live counter there? because we may actually get to over 900,000 during this stream. Let's see here. Oh, it only updates by 1,000 now on Social Blade. That's interesting. But look at that. We are dangerously close to seeing that roll over. And then the race to 1 million is on. So this may actually happen during the stream, which would be wild. The Social Blade only updates every 1,000, but we're actually only 259 away. We're at 899,741. So that would be exciting. Maybe that will roll over while we are here today. And then 1 million will be on the horizon, which is an amazing thing. Okay, let me look at some of these super chats that are coming in because people are asking questions. Walker Anderson says, is it responsible to suggest a government case cover-up based upon circumstantial evidence? I don't even know what Walker's talking about. Andreas Peterson says, so Sweden is kind of chill now, David. How about that beer and political discussion? I'm not going to Sweden anytime soon, my friend. Zachary Foster says, David, do you think people like Peter Hotez saying even with a vaccine, social distancing and masks everywhere from now on is realistic seems cynical? I don't know who that is. Listen, the day the vaccine comes out, things don't go back to normal. But I believe eventually things will get back to normal. Kimmy Head says, hi, Dave. Have you ever granted a Make-A-Wish to a sickly superfan? If not, would you honor such a request? Would you give a tour of your studio? I think probably that's more appropriate for contacting me offline. But we've not done anything with Make-A-Wish to date. We do have a hype train that just started over on Twitch, which is exciting. Our record remains at 620%. Matthias Germany says, hey, David, what is so funny about Trump's plasma? Well, it's funny that Trump still can't get it right. He's off and on. Trump keeps calling it convalescent plasma. The word is plasma. And he gets visibly confused every time that it's on the piece of paper he's reading, and he just can't seem to get it right consistently. And it's sort of like Fuji films. It's just very weird. Waffles Giraffles says, will it take weeks to declare the election winner? I don't believe it will. I don't believe it will. We are already at level 2 of a hype train on Twitch. I also want to say thanks to Christopher McCaslin, who's new member number 1 today at joinpacman.com. And Elizabeth Vargas is number 2 at joinpacman.com as we stand by waiting for President Donald Trump. Will he come clean about coronavirus today? Probably not. Probably not would be my expectation. Neutral Music asks, how do you suggest defending against the growing QAnon, Pizzagate misinformation that seems to be growing? I have friends who believe this shit. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if we should be ignoring it. I certainly don't think, detailed debunkings are the way to go. So I don't really know the answer there, but it's a real problem, and we'll see how much it grows, if at all, as we get closer to November. Danny Thompson asks, do you feel it's a good idea to do a show now on how to register to vote with USA.gov so everyone is ready to vote? In 39 states, you can register to vote online and check to ensure you are registered. Yeah, I mean, I think that what I should do is, because I'm so regularly talking about voting, I should just continue to mention USA.gov. I think that does make a lot of sense. The Beckmanator says, hey, David, polls show Biden going up in Texas. I call it Texas. If he does win Texas, how screwed are Republicans, not just for this year, but potentially for years to come? Very screwed. I wouldn't expect it. And to be perfectly frank, Biden doesn't even come close to needing Texas to win. And if Biden just wins Florida, it becomes extraordinarily difficult for Trump to get reelected. But I think putting Republicans in a position to have to spend money in Texas is still a good thing. Any dollar they have to spend in Texas to be sure that Trump gets it is a dollar that they can't spend somewhere else. Looks like we are about to get some live video here. Still sitting at 899,000 YouTube subscribers, at least for the time being. We are live in the room, as I like to say, and standing by for Donald Trump's press briefing. Alleyway says, have you seen Dr. Jeff Hester's graph showing case numbers changing abruptly on the day hospitals were told to give data to HHS instead of CDC, occurring along partisan lines? Yes, indeed. And in fact, I have a video out an hour ago. Is the Trump administration faking coronavirus numbers? And I quote Jeff, and I encourage you to check out that clip. James Montalbano says, today's show sponsored by Fuji Film. Absolutely. The Dark Half says it's almost over 900,000. Breaks glasses. Yeah, I mean, this is really a big accomplishment for us. At some point today, we are going to surpass, we are going to get to 900,000 YouTube subscribers. We're currently 233 away. There's 4,300 people watching on YouTube. We could hit this right now if people were so inclined. So tomorrow I'm going to talk about the path to 1 million, which of course would just be absolutely huge for us. But yeah, unless something goes very wrong, we could be just minutes, but at most hours from getting to 900,000 YouTube subscribers. A big deal. And we're over 40,000 on Twitch as well, which is important. We do have a level 2 hype train going at 51%. We've got about a minute left in order to do that over on Twitch. And that would be great. We are at level 2 right now. Level 2 is not bad. Level 5 is obviously best. Matt, hold on a second. Before we go any further, I want to show you, where is this? Somebody sent me David Pakman bingo, and this is really good. This is the David Pakman bingo card. And I think that it's not perfect, but it actually has a bunch of pretty funny stuff on it. So this would be not like what this isn't Trump bingo. This is David Pakman bingo. So I play Patriot Mail. Okay, that's fine. I say from the standpoint of, that's great. Exactly as we predicted on this show days ago. Yeah, but there's an addition to that, and then I go, not to pat myself on the back. Many people were predicting it. So like, for example, I might say, exactly as we predicted on this show days ago, it appears that the Trump administration is now lying about case numbers. Not that I was the only one predicting it. I'm not patting myself on the back. I was just pointing out something so obvious. So that's the sort of format of that one. Caller drops call, frequent occurrence on the David Pakman Show. Clickbaity YouTube video title, daily. I mean, that should almost be the center square. We have a voicemail. This one I feel is kind of cheap because we play a voicemail every day. Maybe I'll zoom it in. Mentions going to a cafe or a coffee shop. That's a nice bingo square. I like that. I tell a story about a current or previous producer. Yeah, there was a good one last week about vegan Pat eating a sour cream based sauce during a team dinner, which was a great story. I mention an opinion that is unpopular with progressives, or I espouse an opinion unpopular with progressives. Love it. We've got a great bonus show for you today. That's every day, so that's accurate. I call something weaponized, or I refer to a membership discount that's absurd. I would add absurd or borderline illegal membership discount. Jimmy from Philly is the center square on this one. Runs fingers through hair. Yeah, sometimes I'll end up with like a piece of hair like that, and so I will see it on my various monitors, and I'll pull it out of my hair. I want to know what you think. Often I end segments that way. Elements of blank. I use that today. Caller asks, is that me? And I say, yes, it is. Can you imagine? That's a common one. It's crazy what's going on. That's true. Caller sounds as if underwater. I do a hard sell membership pitch. You know, I don't really do hard sell membership pitch. I usually do, listen, I'm doing the show for everybody no matter what. If you can contribute, I would love it. I don't know that that's really a hard sell. I describe either myself or a caller as being shot out of a cannon. That's beautiful. MAGA nanny as a reference to Kayleigh McEnany. I run down my personal stock holdings and then let me say thank you too. So the podcast, only if you watch the podcast are you familiar with let me say thank you to, because I do try to thank a couple of supporters every single, actually, no, I do it on the live streams. That's right. So that actually makes sense. So every time we do a bingo board, here's what I ask for. Let's iterate. Okay. Contact me by email and tell me what's a square that could be replaced with something better. So like, what's the least good thing here? I think Patriot Mail is a weak square because it's like, okay, we play Patriot Mail. It's not a great square. It's scheduled. David, you could replace Patriot Mail with X. Okay. Like for example, as people are suggesting, I refer to Stephen Kenneth Destiny Bennell II or Hassan Destiny Piker II. That would be a funny square, I think. Maybe, I don't know. We have a voicemail isn't good because we have a voicemail every day. Let me know what I should be replacing these with, but don't do it in chat. Oh, talking about my garden is good. Email me through the website contact form because it's just hard to keep up with all of the suggestions in chat. But that's a great starting bingo board. Referring to chess might be interesting, or a chess analogy. That's not bad. There's a lot of good ideas. You guys are much better at this than I am. That's for sure. So let me know. Joshua Jenkins is coming in out of nowhere with $100 super chat and says, we should shame people who use the police as their personal protection force. People are buying guns left and right and don't think that homicides are out of the question during a pandemic. Joshua, I'm going to be perfectly clear with you with peace and love. I don't totally know what you're saying, but I so appreciate the support. I really, really do. Other super chats. Matt Chavez, have you looked at Stella Emanuel and Trump retweeting her video promoting hydroxy and it being removed? Is she whack or do we need to look at it again? Okay, I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. So I don't want to dig in too deep as far as that goes. Let me say thank you to Jennifer Marshall, Thomas Molman, Matt Johansson, and Daniel Corpus, new members 3, 4, 5, and 6 today. And let me take this as an opportunity to do a very soft sell. This is a soft sell. That's a band, right? Didn't Soft Cell sing Tainted Love? Am I missing that? Did I just come across an 80s band name, Soft Cell? Or was that something else? Now I'm not even sure. Soft Cell. I think that's the name of that band. Anyway, let me give you a soft sell. Our program is mostly funded by members. And so I would really love it if you went to my website, joinpacman.com, and got a membership. It's really, really cheap. The normal prices are really cheap. We estimate only about 0.5% of our audience has a membership. If we could go to 1%, we would be golden. If we could go to 2%, we would be platinum. If we could go to 3%, we would go to Pacmanium. Pacmanium, beautiful. The coupon 2020 now saves you 66%. You don't have to use it, but you can. If you do use it, you'll only pay $1.80 something a month if you pay for the entire year at once. And I will thank folks who sign up. Basically, the way I think about it is if you sign up because a couple bucks a month is reasonable for your budget, you're subsidizing the show for more than 100 other people, arguably for 200 other people at 0.5% support. You sign up, you're covering 200 people getting the David Pakman Show and the streams and the bingo and the, zucchinis and all of this stuff. So consider it is all I'm saying. And it is a very, very soft sell that I am giving you today. Extremely tainted love, as we say. Wayne Kerr says, how would you counter family members living overseas that are getting brainwashed by Fox News? Their opinion is the riots are the biggest U.S. issue. Why are family members overseas so tuned into Fox News? I would start there. Knowledgeable King Judah says, Chief Wiggum Barr, perjury bar. Francisco Resto says, will you make a prediction on Biden's BP pick at some point? I mean, it's like coming in 3 days. I think it'll be Warren, Kamala Harris, or Susan Rice. I don't know which. I don't have any special insight, although it feels like, and facts don't care about certainly my feelings. It feels like it's been moving a little bit in the direction of Elizabeth Warren. I don't know why it feels that way, and I may be completely wrong. Thanks to Silent Night and NATO Jenkins, who between the two of them have just gifted 10 subscriptions on Twitch. Unbelievable. An incredible number. Also, Titan Mars Productions and Jatraplazks, as well as Spicy Corduroy, have subscribed over on Twitch, which is just incredible. I mean, really, really incredible. Do people want to see the John Yoo clip I was talking about? I don't want to get cut off by Trump, but let me see if I can find it. John Yoo Conyers. Let me see if I can find this. This is like an amazing, amazing clip, but I'm having trouble finding it. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is what I'm reminded of. I'll turn the volume up here so that we'll hear it, and we'll turn it up nice and loud with Volume Master just so we don't miss it. Here is, let me see let's check in on where we are on subscriptions. We're only 170 subscriptions from 900,000 on YouTube. There's 5,500 people watching right now. If just 200 of you hit that subscribe button, we would see this roll over in real time. But here's the clip I'm going to play for you. John Yoo was a lawyer for George W. Bush, and he epitomizes the not answering a question during these congressional hearings. Okay, I'm going to load this up and take a listen to this.
Thank you. Is there anything, Professor Yoo, that the president could not order to be done to a suspect if he believed it necessary for national defense?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think that goes back to the quote you just read, because...
No, I'm just asking you the question. Maybe it does or doesn't, but what do you think?
I think it's the same question that I was asked.
Well, what's the answer?
First, can I make clear I'm not talking about...
And you don't have to make anything clear. Just answer the question, counsel.
I just want to make sure I'm not saying anything.
You don't have to worry about not saying. Just answer the question.
This is like really, really good. I've used this actually in classes I've taught.
Question.
Okay. My thinking right now...
Yes, right now.
Okay. My thinking right now...
This moment.
Yes. This moment, Mr. Chairman, is that, first, the question you're posing...
What is the answer?
Mr. Chairman, I'm not trying to make you...
I get it. Okay.
Let me answer I will answer the question.
No, you're wasting my time. Look, counsel, we've all practiced law. Hold it. Could the president order a suspect buried alive?
Mr. Chairman, I don't think that I have ever...
I'm asking you that.
Given the advice that the president could bury somebody alive.
I've never given that advice. Wasn't the question.
I didn't ask you if you ever gave him advice. I asked you, do you think the president could order a suspect buried alive?
Mr. Chairman, my view right now is that I don't think a president would, no American president would ever have to order that or feel it
so it's not still, no president would ever have to do that.
Necessary to order that.
I think we understand the games that are being played. Okay, now let me turn to...
So that is just the prototypical example of what, we see from William Barr. John Yoo does it in a different way, but I mean, it is just that's nuts, right? I mean, I feel like even as desensitized as I am to some of this BS, like that's crazy. That video is insane, what we just saw. And when I show that to students, when I've taught classes, everybody gets a kick out of it. I mean, people really seem to understand. And then you identify that done sometimes more skillfully by other people, but it's essentially the exact same thing with the different, Barr was interrupting more, I think is certainly fair to say. Thanks to Amakor, Paul the Bum, and Iryman for supporting via Twitch. We are at this point standing by for Donald Trump, scheduled for 15 minutes ago to brief us on coronavirus. Super chats continue to come in. Remember, if you're just joining us on YouTube, make sure to hit that like and the subscribe button. We are just about 140 subscribers away from 900,000, an incredible milestone. 140 subscribers from 900,000, a number we're monitoring very closely. Yaya Kelly says, keep up the great work. Thanks, Yaya. Miguel Robles says, look up why demon sperm is trending. It's worth it. I'll look it up later just in case it's not appropriate. Donna Williams says, do you think a vaccine will help Trump get reelected? I think that if there is widespread availability of a vaccine that Trump can credibly take credit for, it probably helps him a few points. I don't know that it gets him reelected. Alvaro S. says, are you ever going to start covering Biden's news conferences? He just had one today. Yes, I would like to. I'm trying to. The scheduling is not always ideal, but I am certainly trying to. I see a lot of people on Twitch asking me to enable BTTV emotes. I'm glad to do that, but I need someone to email me how to do it. I don't really know. People ask for it. I honestly don't know what it is. If you can email me through my website, I will certainly look at doing that. A few other thank yous coming in. Christina Marie Wentworth is new member number 7 today on my website. Chad Thomas is new member number 8. He's a Giga Chad from what I'm seeing. Trevor Weber, I like that, is new member number 9. Rohit Ram Manohar is new member number 10. Jack Turner is new member number 11. Don Mooney is new member number 12. Mark Giles or Giles is new member number 13. Elver Gonzalez, number 14, coming in strong. And Damon Ford is new member number 15 today. I really appreciate your support. Also, thanks to Hensho Jutsu for subscribing with Prime over on Twitch. Let's look at a few other super chats. Zachary Foster says, David, I think my question is more along the lines of how do we clearly communicate a return to normal without calling it new normal? The world has seen way worse and returned to societal norms. It's going to happen, Zachary. So eventually we will have more effective treatments. The vaccines will start to roll out. We may only, by the way, where is this background audio coming from? I guess it's coming from here. I'll turn that down a little. The vaccines will become more effective over time, and eventually we will get back to not needing to wear masks and travel will resume. But it could take a couple of years. That's the reality. So for me, it's less about new normal. It's more about what's reasonable right now, what makes sense right now, given the situation on the ground. And of course, it's very different depending on your sort of tolerance for accepting science or following Donald Trump blindly, sadly. James Montalbano says, missing from the bingo board, X. And what I mean by that is, yeah, that I use that frequently. I already did Joshua Jenkins. Anita Blackhawk, beautiful. Mr. Pacman, any chance you put your workout routine on Instagram TV? No. I am envious of your lithe, sinewy body and would love to follow your slimnastics. Yeah, I just don't think so. SAM says, hey, David, what do you think about deplatforming and censoring people that actively try to mislead and misinform? Conspiracy nuts, anti-vaccine. Listen, let's focus on education. And if we had an educated public, that crap would never even get the time of day. I think that that's a better way than debating censorship. Alexander Verdant says, did you hear about the geopolitical conflict between Chile and Argentina over the issue of Cape Horn? I did not. Nasty Question says, watching Barr's hearing today was maddening. Thanks for streaming. Hi from powerfully infected Texas. Sorry to hear that. Unknown Prodigy with some chess advice says, castle early. Never forget. None pizza be left. None pizza beef left. Okay, has subscribed with Twitch Prime. And Kadara77 has subscribed with Twitch Prime, which is great to see. I See Dead Llamas says, hey, David, a good thing to keep an eye on is Sturgis, South Dakota. The yearly biker rally is set to happen, and it's one of the biggest in the world, mostly Trump supporters, set to happen Friday, the 7th of August. Okay. Jeff Archer has signed up at the soy boy level. Evan Fields says, just sending good vibes, David. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Evan. Sean McCracken says, have you looked at the contribution of the Fed quantitative easing corporate bailout programs to the social strife we find ourselves in, inflation, etc.? I have. Not a Shinigami has subscribed on YouTube. Mr. Lieutenant Pink says, Pacmanium. Yes, the rarest of rare earth elements, for lack of a better term. Jonathan Hawkins says, bingo square idea when you use the long U. Oh, like Tulsi instead of Tulsi, or Tulsa instead of Tulsa. Someone pointed out that I use a liquid U when pronouncing the word new as opposed to new. But isn't that how it's pronounced? Like the word NEW. Isn't it pronounced new? Who pronounces it like as if it were NOO? That sounds weird. New. I got a new car. Come on. Come on. New. Exactly. Exactly. Osborne says, anybody but Warren, I will not vote for Joe Biden if he picks Elizabeth. Okay, I hope you vote in a state where it doesn't matter. Sam Battaglieri has subscribed on YouTube at the beta level. HKN says, keep up the great work, David. Tristan McCoppin says, do you think that we can get real coronavirus data somehow? If so, how? Worried, I'm in a red state. I don't have the answer at this point. I don't have the answer. I wish I did. Let me say thanks to Gene Rogers, who just made a pledge at patreon.com/David Pacman. We're going to count that as member number 16, which makes Jason Keenan member number 17. And I believe I missed someone earlier. Hold on. Marcus Carney is new member number 18. Stefan Staff, or Stefan Staff, is new member number 19. I think that gets me caught up. That's everybody, right? Jason Keenan, I just mentioned. Okay, very good. I am caught up there from the standpoint of memberships at joinpacman.com, the most beautiful way to support the David Pakman Show. What's going on with, let's see. We're still holding steady at $8.99. Yeah, if you're just joining us, we are only, we're now down to 100. We are 100 YouTube subscribers away from rolling over to 900,000, which would be amazing to do live. If it doesn't happen live, it'll happen within a couple of hours, just the way things have been going. But 6,700 of you are watching on YouTube right now. 100 of you must not yet be subscribed. Let's do it right now. Hit that subscribe button and let's make it happen. Down to 99 more, and we can do it. Wouldn't this be amazing? People are confused. It looks like we're 1,000 away. YouTube now only updates subscriber counts every 1,000. So we're actually only 97 away. On my phone, it tells me the actual number. We're only 97 away. So that would be, that would just be wild. It would be great to do it. I'll keep an eye on it. Maybe I'll just, oh boy, we might miss it because T-Rump is coming out. The Mango Menace, the Tangerine Terror. Let's take a listen.
Thank you very much. Today, my administration has taken a momentous step toward achieving American pharmaceutical independence. Very, very big step. A focus of our campaign to bring America's critical supply chains and medical manufacturing back to the USA. We've been working on this for a long time. This is a core of our strategy to protect our people from the horrible China virus.
People.
Should have never happened, should have never been here. They should have stopped it. In the decades before I took office, foreign nations were allowed to freely plunder our factories and loot our industries, take our business out of the United States.
Industry.
Millions of jobs were vacuumed out, just taken out so easily.
Sucked out.
Our politicians let that happen, and our communities were stripped and shipped in many cases to China and all over the world, countries all over the world. Nearly 4 years ago, we launched a bold effort to revitalize American manufacturing, enact fair trade deals, and bring our industries back home where they belong.
How'd that work?
When the China virus landed on our shores, it became clearer than ever before that restoring American manufacturing is a core matter of national security. We must never be reliant on a foreign nation for America's medical or other needs, and that includes many other needs. I just want to say that Pfizer just announced a little while ago that they're combining phase 2 and phase 3 trials, and the vaccine looks like it's really heading in a very rapid direction, a very positive direction. First time that's happened, and they're many months ahead of any other trial. There's never been anything like it, so it's the fastest ever, and to me, it's very exciting. Today, I'm proud to announce one of the most important deals in the history of U.S. pharmaceutical industries. My administration has reached a historic agreement with a great American company. You remember this company? It's called, from the good old camera age, the old days.
Say it.
To begin producing critical pharmaceutical ingredients. It's called Kodak.
Oh, okay.
And it's going to be right here in America. So I want to congratulate the people in Kodak. They've been working very hard. Members of my administration are present in Rochester right now, Rochester, New York, good place. And they're trying to finalize this groundbreaking deal, and they will be announcing this deal. I want to thank Governor Andrew Cuomo and his representatives. We've worked really well together on this deal. It's a big deal. It's going to be a great deal, and a great deal for New York and a great deal for Kodak.
Huge money being made.
90% of all prescriptions written in the United States are for generic drugs. We have approved more generic drugs than any other administration by far. Generic drugs can be just as good as the brand names but cost much less.
It's Fujifilm brand plasma.
Active pharmaceutical ingredients needed to make these drugs. They're currently manufactured in America. More than 50%, however, are made in India and China. And you'll be seeing a lot of things have happened. It's been happening, but it's happening at a more rapid pace right now. With this new agreement, my administration is using the Defense Production Act to provide a $765 million loan to support the launch of Kodak Pharmaceuticals. It's a great name when you think of it. Such a great name. Was one of the great brands in the world. Then people went digital and Kodak didn't follow. But now under very extraordinary leadership, they are following. And they're doing something that's a different field, and it's a field that they've really hired some of the best people in the world
to be. Which he understands nothing about.
Taking care of that company and watching that company, watching over it. But it's a breakthrough in bringing pharmaceutical manufacturing back to the United States. Under this contract, our 33rd use of the Defense Production Act. Remember when you were saying, I didn't use it enough, I didn't use it enough? And now you heard it's the 33rd use. We don't talk about it all the time. We used it, and we used it as a little bit of a threat, frankly, with certain companies that weren't doing as we were asking them to do, and it came through as both a threat and a usage. But this is our 33rd use of the Defense Production Act. Kodak will now produce generic active pharmaceutical ingredients, which is a big deal. Using advanced manufacturing techniques, Kodak will also make the key starting materials that are the building blocks for many drugs in a manner that is both cost competitive and environmentally safe. Will be competitive with almost all countries and soon with all countries. Once this new division is fully operational, in addition to all of the other plants that we've opened with other companies throughout the United States recently, it will produce as much as 25% of all active ingredients needed to make generic drugs in the USA. It's a big number, 25%. This agreement will directly create 360 new jobs at Kodak's factory in Rochester. That's just in the initial phase. And in Minneapolis, a place I have gotten to know very well, and it's a great place. And I'm very happy that we're able to help them with the problems that they've had recently. The National Guard, I want to thank the National Guard.
Oh, boy.
Both state and beyond, I want to thank them for the incredible job. They went in and they did some beautiful job. They cleaned it up. You didn't hear about the problems anymore.
Delusional.
And indirectly, we created thousands more jobs all across our pharmaceutical supply chains.
Speaking of jobs, just a quick update. Yesterday, Trump said that he saved tens of millions of energy jobs. I was able to confirm after the stream there are only 6 million energy jobs in the entire country. So how Trump saved tens of millions is beyond me.
For their tremendous work to make this deal possible. Today's action is our latest step to build the greatest medical arsenal in history. We'll be able to do that through the Defense Production Act and other authorities. We have invested more than $3 billion in our nation's industrial base. We've contracted with companies such as Ford, General Motors, Philips, and General Electric to produce more than 200,000 ventilators by the end of this year, nearly 7 times more than we would ever do in a typical year. We've contracted with Honeywell, 3M, O&M, Halyard, Moldex, and Lidl to increase U.S. production of N95 masks, and we've brought it from less than 40 million a month to over 100 million a month by August, and we'll have 160 million in a very short while, 160 million a month. That's many times what we used to do. If you go back 2 years ago, many, many times. We're increasing domestic production of gloves by 1,000%.
What about gowns?
1,000%. We will be manufacturing 450 million gloves annually by next year. We're finalizing contracts with our textile industry to make gowns in America with American fabric, which makes a lot of our businesses happy that produce the fabric. We have 13 million reusable gowns in the stockpile, and we'll continue to grow that number to 72 million this fall, which is a rapid escalation indeed. We made major investments in new rapid point-of-care tests. So we have, there's nothing like the rapid point where you get your answer in 5 minutes to 15 minutes to maybe 20, 25 minutes at the max.
Ideally the right answer if you're Trump.
At about a 50% level, and we're bringing it up very substantially from there. We're growing domestic production from less than 250,000 test kits per month in May to 8 million test kits per month. There is nothing like this that has ever taken place anywhere in the world or close. Through our partnership with Puritan Manufacturing in the state of Maine, great state, we've increased production of test swabs from 30 million per month in June to 56 million per month now. As you remember, I went to Maine. I went to the plant where they do this. It was incredible. It was a great experience. And we'll produce over 100 million swabs per month by January. We've dramatically ramped up production of materials needed for a vaccine and are on track to rapidly produce 100 million doses as soon as a vaccine is approved, which could be very, very soon, and 500 million doses shortly thereafter. So we'll have 500 million doses. And logistically, we're using our military, our great military, a group of people, their whole life is based around logistics and bringing things to and from locations. And they'll be able to take care of this locationally and bringing it where it has to go very, very quickly. They're all mobilized. It's been fully set up. A very, very talented general is in charge. And when we have that vaccine, it will be discharged and taken care of. It'll be a very, very rapid process all over the country. And perhaps we'll be supplying a lot of the vaccine to other parts of the world like we do with ventilators and other things that we all of a sudden have become very good at making. When the China virus struck our nation, we mobilized the entire government and the private sector to acquire, source, and deliver life-saving supplies. HHS, FEMA, and the private sector combined have coordinated the delivery of more than 196 million N95 respirators, 815 million surgical masks, 20 million gloves.
So, of course, this is a distraction from the fact that most countries dealt with this months ago in a way that has gotten the hospitals mostly empty. Trump still, everything's like it's 5 months ago, right? We needed the PPE 5 months ago. Obviously, we still need it, unfortunately, but the focus now shouldn't be on look at what you've been able to get in 5 months. It should be look at how we have almost no cases. Of course, that's not the case. Another 1,000 people died today.
Especially if they have a medical difficulty, a medical problem, in particular heart or diabetes, which provided a total of 1.2 million pairs of protective eyewear, 14 million masks, 66 million pairs of gloves, and 13 million gowns. We have replenished the long-neglected...
He's just I mean, it's like he's already given us 5 different sets of numbers about gowns and gloves. It's of no meaning whatsoever.
Masks. Today, the stockpile has over 50 million N95 masks, and we'll be doubling that in a very short period of time, and then doubling that number. We've shipped more than 14,000 ventilators to areas of need across the country, and we've more than 75,000 available to deploy. Not a single American who has needed a ventilator has been denied a ventilator. And if you remember, early on when we were first hit with the virus, ventilators were very hard to come by. And now we're the largest maker anywhere in the world by far. And not only are we fully supplied and stocked, but we're helping other nations because ventilators are hard to build and hard to get. This is just the beginning. In the coming months, we will continue the largest onshoring campaign in American history. We will bring back our jobs, and we will make America the world's premier medical manufacturer and supplier. That's what's happening already. It's been happening now for quite some time.
By the way, when Trump says 50 million gloves, do you assume he means 25 million pairs or 50 million pairs when he says 50 million gloves? You understand what I'm saying?
But we are watching very carefully California, Arizona, Texas, and most of Florida that's starting to head down in the right direction.
Right,
and I think you'll see it rapidly head down very soon. But if you look, California, Arizona, Texas, and for the most part, most of Florida starting to head down. In the wake of the recent mass gatherings Americans have witnessed in the streets of Portland and Seattle, we are also tracking a significant rise in cases in both metropolitan.
Right, that's the trick. It's 50 million gloves, but they're all left-handed gloves. That's a real problem.
As you know, I've done an excellent job of watching over Portland and watching our courthouse where they wanted to burn it down. They're anarchists, nothing short of anarchists, agitators.
Authoritarian delusions.
And we have protected it very powerfully. And if we didn't go there, I will tell you, you wouldn't have a courthouse. You'd have a $1 billion burned out building. We're also working aggressively to combat the virus in Native American and Alaska Native communities. Under the CARES Act, we provided $8 billion to address the coronavirus in tribal communities. And we've worked very hard with tribal communities. They're very vulnerable to this horrible plague.
I'm sure he cares about that.
It's the largest investment in Indian country in U.S. history. There's never been an investment that big in Indian country. We need every American to help protect our fellow citizens and prevent the spread of the disease. It's critical that younger Americans remember that even though they are at lower risk, and in fact some age groups are at extraordinary low risk themselves, they can unknowingly spread the virus to others who are at higher risk. I ask all Americans, regardless of background or age, to practice social distancing, which people have gotten very used to, but we have to keep doing it. Remain vigilant about hygiene, avoid indoor gatherings and large gatherings, but especially indoor, especially where you have crowd.
I'm going to just try the other stream because the audio is so bad on that one.
Our fellow citizens and prevent the spread of the disease. It's critical that younger Americans remember that even though they are at lower risk, and in fact some age groups are at extraordinary low risk.
This is better.
Themselves, they can unknowingly spread the virus to others who are at higher risk.
Maybe not.
I ask all Americans, regardless of background or age, to practice social distancing, which people have gotten very used to, but we have to keep doing it. Remain vigilant about hygiene, avoid indoor gatherings and large gatherings, but especially indoor, especially where you have crowded bars, and that you wear a mask whenever appropriate. Through the genius of our scientists, the devotion of our doctors, the skill of our workers, and the dedication of our people, we will achieve victory over the virus and emerge stronger than ever before. We're looking at a very powerful year next year economically.
Hopefully under
the
a
job
different
numbers
president.
are looking outstanding, to put it mildly, set records. The numbers on retail sales came in 2 weeks ago at the highest number in the history of our country. So we look like we're heading to some very good economic times. That means jobs. That means stock market. Stock market is already doing very well. It's getting to a point very close to where it was when we had this, when we were hit with the plague. So I just want to thank everybody for being here.
Questions?
Steve, please go ahead.
Could you clarify your acceptance speech for the Republican nomination? Are you physically going to be in Charlotte, or will you give the speech here or somewhere else?
We'll be doing a speech on Thursday, the main speech, the primary speech. Charlotte, they will be doing nominating on Monday. That's a different period, a different thing happening, but they'll be doing nominations on Monday. I speak on Thursday. Okay?
From where?
Are you going to Charlotte?
We'll be announcing it soon.
Oh, he's not.
So you could be going to Charlotte.
Anybody have any ideas? We'll be announcing it very soon.
Mr. President.
Mr. President, the negotiations are ongoing right now for the next relief measures. Senate Republicans have put forth their plan. Do you support what Senate Republicans have put forward, and are there certain aspects that they have put forward that you don't support?
Yeah, there are actually, and we'll be talking about it. There are, also things that I very much support, but we'll be negotiating. It's sort of semi-irrelevant because the Democrats come with their needs and asks, and the Republicans go with theirs. So we'll be discussing it with Mitch and all of the other people involved. Kevin's been very active, as you know. All of the people involved. Steve Mnuchin's done a great job, keeps everybody together, both Democrat and Republican.
Right.
And we'll see. We want to do what's best for the people. I want to do what's best for the people. I want to do what's best for the economy because that means jobs and lots of good things, all right?
What Senate Republicans put forward, sir? What do you make of what Senate Republicans put forward?
Mr. President, two questions quickly. First, can you clarify your position on the efficacy of hydroxychloroquine after you retweeted a video making claims that it is effective?
I wasn't making claims. It's recommendations of many other people, including doctors. Many doctors think it is extremely successful, the hydroxychloroquine, coupled with the zinc and perhaps the zithromycin. But many doctors think it's extremely good, and some people don't. Some people, I think it's become very political.
What do clinical trials
I happen to
say?
believe in it. I would take it. As you know, I took it for a 14-day period, and I'm
now
here.
It was 14 days.
I'm here. I happen to think it works in the early stages. I think frontline medical people believe that too, many. And so we'll take a look at it. But the one thing we know, it's been out for a long time, that particular formula, and that's essentially what it is, the pill.
So is arsenic. Doesn't mean it'll treat coronavirus.
It's been for malaria, lupus, and other things. It's safe. It doesn't cause problems. I had no problem. I had absolutely no problem. Felt no different. Didn't feel good, bad, or indifferent. I tested, as you know. It didn't get me, and it's not going to hopefully hurt anybody. So we know from that standpoint, because it's been so many years, from a safety standpoint, it's safe.
Can you imagine people elected this guy?
Based on what I've read a lot about
he reads all the
hydroxy.
time. Yeah, that's believable.
I happen to think that it has an impact, especially at the early years. There were some very good tests at Ford, and the doctor from Yale came up with a very, very strong testament to it. There was a group of doctors yesterday, a large group, that were put on the internet, and for some reason the internet wanted to take them down.
Could someone explain science to him?
And took them off. I guess Twitter took them off, and I think Facebook took them off. I don't know why. I think they're very respected doctors.
Well, it's fake news.
There was a woman who was spectacular in her statements about it, that she's had tremendous success with it. And they took her voice off. I don't know why they took her off, but they took her off. Maybe they had a good reason, maybe they didn't. I don't know. I can only say that from my standpoint, and based on a lot of reading and a lot of knowledge about it, I think it could have a very positive impact in the early stages. And I don't think you lose anything by doing it, other than politically, it doesn't seem to be too popular. You know why? Because I recommend it. When I recommend something, they like to say, don't use it. John, please.
On that note, Mr. President, last night in tweets that were deleted by Twitter, you said that Dr. Fauci misled the country about hydroxychloroquine. How so?
Here we go.
No, not at all. I don't even know what his stance is on it.
But then why did he tweet that?
Just, he was at the...
Why did he tweet it?
He was at the task force meeting a little while ago. I have a very good relationship with Dr. Fauci. It's sort of interesting. We've listened to Dr. Fauci. I haven't always agreed with him, and that's, I think, pretty standard. That's okay. He did not want us to ban put up the ban to China when China was heavily infected very badly, Wuhan. He didn't want to do that, and I did, and other things. And he told me I was right, and he told me I saved tens of thousands of lives, which was generous. But it's, I think it's fact. Then I did the ban on Europe. But I get along with him very well, and I agree with a lot of what he said. So, it's interesting. He's got a very good approval rating, and I like that. It's good.
No, he's jealous,
He's working for this administration. He's working with us, John. We could have gotten other people. We could have gotten somebody else. It didn't have to be Dr. Fauci. He's working with our administration, and for the most part, we've done pretty much what he and others, Dr. Birx and others who are terrific, recommended.
My God.
And he's got this high approval rating, so why don't I have a high approval rating with respect and the administration with respect to the virus? We should have a very high.
That's what bothers him.
What we've done in terms of, we're just reading off about the masks and the gowns and the ventilators.
Why don't I have a high
numbers that nobody's seen, and the testing at 55 million tests. We tested more than anybody in the world. I have a graph that I'd love to show you. Perhaps you've seen it, where we're up here and the rest of the world is down at a level.
Now he's just lying again.
That's just a tiny fraction of what we've done in terms of testing. So it sort of is curious. A man works for us, with us very closely, Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx, also highly thought of.
High approval, I don't
and
have
yet
it.
they're highly thought of, but nobody likes me. It can only be
Because
my
you're an
personality, that's all. Go ahead.
Could I just ask you also, DHS announced today that it is going to undertake a thorough review of the DACA program to decide whether to continue it, and if not, how to disband it. You had mentioned after the Supreme Court ruling about DACA that you were thinking about a path to citizenship for DACA recipients. Are you still thinking
We're
that?
going to work with a lot of people on DACA, and we're also working on an immigration bill, a merit-based system, which is what I've wanted for a long time. That decision was an interesting decision because it gave the president, as a president, more power than many people thought the president had. So the president is now, which happens to be me, in a position where I can do an immigration bill and a health care bill and some other bills, and you've seen some of them come along. We're going to do tremendous, we just signed it 3 days ago, we're doing tremendous prescription drug price reductions, tremendous. It could be over 50%, whether it's favored nations clauses or anything else. I mean, it's tremendous numbers we're talking about. You know, you go to some countries and they'll sell like a pill for 10 cents, and in the United States it costs $2. And it's the same basic factory, it's the same
true.
everything. The United States bears the cost of all of these low prices that you see all over the world, where people go to Canada to buy a prescription drug from the United States. Not going to happen with me. It's not going to happen with me. So, John, I think one of the exciting things got very little coverage, and that's okay, but the people understand it. I think we will be reducing prescription drug prices by massive amounts, numbers that have never been done before. Other thing, in 51 years, we got, as you know, last year, drug prices came down. First time in 51 years that they came down. Now, with what I signed last week, I think that drug prices can come down by numbers like 50% and even greater in certain instances.
But if I could come back to where I originally started, are you still considering a path to citizenship for current DACA recipients?
We are going to make DACA happy and the DACA people and representatives happy, and we're also going to end up with a fantastic merit-based immigration system. Please.
Yeah, on the drug pricing, you had said that pharmaceutical representatives would be here today for a meeting to talk about bringing drug prices down or to negotiate.
Yeah, they're
that meeting was canceled. Why?
I didn't know a meeting was canceled. Oh, a meeting with the drug...
You said there would be a meeting today with drug companies.
Well, I said there would be a meeting, a meeting sometime this week, yeah. They want to meet. I mean, I don't know that it was canceled. They want to meet. I thought the meeting was actually scheduled for tomorrow.
Yeah.
We will see, I guess.
thought the meeting was scheduled tomorrow. Sorry about the dates, but you know, I see how upset you are by it.
On the
Go ahead,
FBI
please, Bloomberg. Bloomberg, Mr. Bloomberg. You look like Mr. Bloomberg. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I
Would
think
you
you look
support
much
a
better,
temporary
actually.
extension
This
of
guy's black. He doesn't look
supplemental
like Michael
unemployment aid if the deal that they're hashing out in Congress isn't completed by the end of this week?
We'll do something. We're going to take care of the people. Yeah, it's a good question. We're going to take care of the people.
The woman that you said was a great doctor in that video that you retweeted last night said that masks don't work and there is a cure for COVID-19, both of which health experts say is not true. She's also made videos saying that doctors make medicine using DNA from aliens and that they're trying to create a vaccine to make you immune from becoming religious.
Well, maybe it's the same, maybe it's not, but I can tell you this.
No, it's the same person.
She was on air along with many other doctors. They were big fans of hydroxychloroquine, and I thought she was very impressive in the sense that from where she came, I don't know which country she comes from, but she said that she's had tremendous success with hundreds of different patients. And I thought her voice was an important voice, but I know nothing about her.
Last week you said masks. Last week, well, real quick. Last week you said
Thank you very much, everybody.
He's not going to let Caitlin Collins too prepared. He's not going to allow it to continue if she's going to get to talk. Yeah, it's just too. I mean, you know, accurately brings up that this woman who's he's quoting, retweeting on hydroxychloroquine, also talked about aliens, and he just abruptly ends. Nasty, nasty, nasty stuff there, folks. So I guess we know what's on the show tomorrow, at least partially. So listen, from the standpoint of subscribers, we hit 900,000 We're actually over it. I don't know why Social Blade hasn't updated yet, even though it says it updates every second. Maybe it only updates every 10 minutes or something. But we did it. It's anticlimactic in that the number hasn't changed. I'll refresh. But we did it. We are at 900,000 subscribers. It would be great if we actually could show it to you, but I don't know. Something very weird is going on. But thank you. Thank you to everybody who helped us to get there. And onward and upward to 1 million on YouTube and 50,000 on Twitch. Listen, we've only been on Twitch for like 9 months, but we're working on that as well. But a bizarre event here. And I'm going to be processing all of the very not high level ideas, but very, very low level ideas. I'm going to have to be processing that for a while because it was so crazy. So thanks for joining me. Please, on the way out, if you're watching on Twitch, hit that follow button. It's free. It's a free button. And if you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button. We are the race is officially on to 1 million subscribers. I want to do it before Election Day. We're on track for January 6th, so we would miss Election Day by a couple of months, but it's conceivably possible. All right, so the race to 1 million is on, and I'll see you guys very soon.